Ready, boys and girls? Another installment of Sharp Customs. I'm just getting wound up here. We're going to show you some fiberglass work. I know you all love it, and thank you to all my new subscribers. Thank you to all my regular subscribers. Thank you to all the subscribers. I love you all. So, basically, check this out. So this is the new resin. Look at this beautiful blue. Look at that. That's gorgeous. That's gorgeous. That's like you know, you go away on a vacation, the water's like blue. We've got our MEKP, methyl ethyl ketone peroxide. We've got 6 ounces in here. Calls for 3.5 milliliters of hardener. Yeah, that wasn't good. We'll set that aside. It'll do. It'll do. I'm going a little light. Calls for 3.5 for 6 ounces. I'm just going to stir it up just for a second or two. Yeah, you're looking at the GT40. We're working on the front clip, the nose. It's work in progress. Now, what I want to let everybody out there in YouTube land know is I am still kind of a virgin when it comes to fiberglass work, but I try my hardest. What I learn, I like to give out knowledge-wise. So this front little clip, the nose, it's been gel coated. I did spray it in. I brushed some in. I let it flash, and then I used my dump gun and I sprayed the rest of it, you know, what I could get. There's areas up here in the front that there was no way that I could spray it, so I kind of had to brush it in between these, you know, there's so many little nooks, crannies, crevices, corners. Kind of a pain in the ass, to tell you the truth. Now, you just watched me use a syringe to put my hardener in. This is all new for me. Because normally, basically I used a little dropper, and so for every ounce of resin, you would normally, at about 1.5%, so 1.5%, you probably put about 15 drops. What I did is I took this little container, 4mx, and I put in all my drops. I counted them. It was like 120 drops. And then I sucked it up with the syringe. And I was out by like a milliliter and a half, which told me that your little eyedropper, you know, boink, 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 your little dropper, told me that it was off a bit. So what I should have been doing to get like a 1.5 percentage is I should have been more in the realm of about 20 to 25 drops. So I kind of stopped using this. Kind of like the syringe. So you got to see this cool blue. Oh, by the way, so this is the front clip of the GT40, and I forgot to mention, we're rolling. We are rolling. We're going to take a little walk just across the shop. We're gonna let this resin do its thing, and we're gonna go take a little look at, because I have the midsection and I have the tail. They're already made. Let's take a little walk. We'll take a little walk, and we'll come over here. Oh, come on, look at it. That thing is bitching. It's a little more than half of the car, but we've got the tail section made. We've got the midsection made. Of course, I stuck the wheel there just to make it kind of look cool. So the idea with this one, this is going to be the full-blown. Eventually the doors will be cut, but I had to make a front bulkhead, firewall, what have you, with the, you know, the footwell, and eventually everything will be hinged. I will be manufacturing rails that come out so that the front can flip forward. I can give you a little idea with the back. Okay, now I've got the windows cut here. I still have to cut out the back window. I've still got to cut out the vents. So basically this will hinge. There you watch, there you go, look it. That will hinge. Let's get rid of the wheel. That will kind of hinge something like that. As you can see, the rear firewall, we've actually got a window cut, because you got to have a cut out in the rear firewall. Let's move this piece out of the way. You got to have a rear window in here, in a sense. I just glued these in. This is wood. This is like a 5-layer marine Baltic birch that I use for my firewalls. Here's the back. You can kind of get a look at it. Now, this stuff here, it's got to be all cut out, obviously. It's got to be cut out. Lights, probably not going to cut them out because, you know, they just stick in there. If you wanted real lights, if you were a quarter scale guru and you were making a, you know, beautiful V8 transaxle transmission, and basically you're going to spend a whole lot of money and make it into a shelf queen, you know, and never ever run it on the street like I do. That's kind of what you would do. You'd probably put some LED tail lights in here, maybe 3D print them. Now it's like these vents. These vents I had to plug off when I made the molds, but on the inside you could literally 3D print this little unit right here, which is I believe that they cool the rear brakes. I believe that's the idea behind it. Now I want you to get a look at kind of the thickness there. You know, we're looking at, we're pretty close to 1/8 of an inch thickness. And I'm going to show you that back over there, where we're getting ready to do a little bit of a layup with some 6-ounce chop. I don't care what anybody thinks. This thing is like just, it's coming along so fast. I have the skirts. So the skirts, obviously the doors are separate. The skirts, let's pull it out. Who cares? Let's pull it out. So I've got these little side skirts. They're all laminated to the bulkheads, front and rear. Obviously, you know, the door ends there. It is not laminated. This is where the hinge will go for the doors to swing open. It's not really that heavy. I thought it might be a little heavier. It's looking pretty good. I think it's looking great. So we'll take a walk back over, because I'm going to do some laminating. what do you say we go do some fiberglass work? Let's go do some fiberglass work. I'm just going to get it on. We're going to go for it. Oh, hey, you can watch me. Look at this. Baby powder. Oh, what am I using the baby powder for? Well, the itch, obviously. I put baby powder on. I like to reduce, reuse, and recycle. I put the baby powder on. It allows me to take my gloves back off every now and then so I can reuse them. Because basically I mix up roughly between 6-8 ounces at a time. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Here you go. Check this out. Now you saw that it was blue. It is now turned brown. It has turned brown. Yeah, got a little stick here, my little stir stick. Doesn't matter, just a piece of lumber I found on the floor. Turns brown when it's ready. So, basically, these layups, I kind of want to explain to everybody. I'm going to work, and I'm going to explain as I go. So, I've already gel coated the front clip. I've already laid in a layer of 1/2 ounce angel hair, veil, whatever you want to call it. It conforms to the corners, the contours. It can be a little tricky to work with. When I started this front nose section, because it is so detailed, kind of felt like I was in hell, because trying to get it all tucked in there and, you know, get it tied in, it was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, you know, it's like you got to get it all wetted out, you got to get it tucked in there, and it's like it don't want to conform sometimes, and it's like, oh God, this is like the other pieces, the tail, the midsection, they went pretty good. This front section, I can honestly say, I really fought with it. I'm going to get to spreading some of this out, and I'm going to talk while I work. And I'm going to show you kind of the process. So I'm using unwaxed resin, which means I can lay this stuff out. I can just smear it on, and I got upwards, you know, 2, 3, 4, kind of, I got time, basically. I got days. I got days. On the can, it actually says you got upwards of a week. Some of the stuff says 2 weeks. I kind of like getting it done, you know, day after day after day type of thing. It stays, put it this way, it stays sticky. If you don't want it to stay sticky, then you do have a component, an additive, that you can put into your mix, which is called air dry. You know what? This here, so there you have your additive right there, called air dry. I have not used a drop of this yet, because I don't even think it's really necessary. Like this right here, where I haven't put any resin, within a few days that's already dry. And a little trick, I know that the fiberglass composite builders, they already know this little trick. But if this was still tacky and you wanted to kind of cure it up, you could take some of your release. You could take some PVA and you could just spray it over this. And basically what you're doing is you're blocking the air. I don't know the scientific name for it, but you're blocking the air from the process, and it would eventually become totally tack free. Another cool little trick to make it become tack free would be to just take your release wax, you know, in the can, rub it over it, and you're doing exactly the same thing. You're just sealing out the air. And I've done it both ways. It works great. Now I've got a pre-cut piece here. So this is 6-ounce chop mat. So the whole process to my layups, you know, everybody's got their own preferences. This is my preference. So basically I'm going to show you right here. So I lay down 2 layers, or I try to, 2 layers of this real fine, a lot of people call it angel hair. It's actually ½ an ounce. It folds and turns and twists and whatnot to all your little corners and contours, and really nice stuff. Glad I discovered this. So I usually try and put down 2 layers of that, which basically makes 1 ounce. And I let it cure. I let it cure. I don't like wasting product. You know, the stuff is expensive. This stuff here, and once you get your veil or your angel hair, whatever you want to call it, once you get it kind of laid down. Now remember, there's a binder in this stuff, in the chop. And it's like, once you get it all, you got to get it good and saturated. Breaks down the binder. The binder is a powder of sorts. So you want to get it, you know, you could sit there and you could play with this for all kinds of time. Your best bet, I'm going to tell you, your best bet is just get it saturated. Get it saturated as fast as you can. Breaks down the binder, and then you can come back and you can kind of work it. You know, you can buy the fancy rollers and all that type of stuff. And you know, now don't get me wrong, sometimes this stuff does not, it does. Now you can see how fast I got that piece saturated, but sometimes it don't want to cooperate. You know, up here you can see it just, you know, it don't want to stay down. But because I've already got my layers of veil down, even if I were to get some air bubbles in this in the 6-ounce chop, hopefully between the gel coat and your ½ ounce material, you're going to be okay. So I lay down 6-ounce chop. Obviously I'm not going to be able to show you the whole works in this video. And then I lay down, so after the veil, here we got the veil, here's a little sample. 1 or 2 coats of the veil, then my 6-ounce chop on top of that. So once my 6-ounce chop has dried, and I will get to an end point. Stay, watch, because then I go into the cloth. This is my strength right here. This is my strength. My cloth is my strength. So basically I put the cloth after this coat of 6-ounce chop. Then to finish it off, I go back and I do another layer of 6-ounce chop. So basically I sandwich my strength. This is my strength. My cloth is my strength. I sandwich that. So 2 layers of ½ ounce, that gives me 1 ounce. Layer of 6-ounce chop. Layer of 6-ounce cloth. And a layer of 6-ounce. We're talking 19 ounces total. Now, you always got to keep in mind that when you're laying this stuff in, you're always kind of overlapping here and there, and I'll show you. I'll just take, I like strips, Everybody has their own preference. Now I could have tried to lay this in one giant, you know, piece, but because I've got all these corners, the crevices, the contours, and whatnot, it's like I find it easier with smaller strips. It's like, you know, I didn't get this piece right up tight to there. I like to rip it. I like to kind of rip it, stick it into place. Is it possible that I'm going to lose this mix? Obviously certain, because, you know, I'm doing a lot of talking on the video, and like I say, everybody has their own. See, there you go. See, I'm kind of overlapping there, so it's almost like you're doubling up. Dab that down. I'm gonna rip some more. I'm gonna come in. Now, do I want to get this lip? Not really sure. This little lip here, because it's undercut, it is a little tricky. It's a little tricky to do because you get all these hairs kind of hanging out. Could you use a straighter piece? Most certainly you could. You could use a straighter piece, but like I say, until you get your, you know, your chop mat. Now don't forget, I've already got 2 layers. Now this stuff all gets cut off. I like to do what they call green trimming, which means I have to sit and I have to wait, and when it gets to a certain point, I can cut this excess off just with a utility knife. I kind of like it. Sometimes I forget, and the molds come out. You know, they come out with a now look at this. See, we're going to stick that in there. And like I say, this stuff does not always, until you get it really saturated, it don't want to play nice. Like right there, it's sticking up, and I'm gonna have to work it a bit, and that's okay. It's okay to have to work it a bit. But here we go. See, and again, I'm showing you right here, live. We are doubling up. So when you double up, you know, now you're working within different parameters of thicknesses, let's just say. I'm going to try and do as much as I can. While I'm on camera, just to show you, this is, you know, I'm going to try and use up my resin. I'm probably not going to go for those undercut wheel wells. I think we'll just stick to a lot of the flat kind of surfaces, just because, you know, you get me doing these undercuts and I'll probably start cursing and swearing, and yeah, you don't want to see that. Nah, I'm lying. I don't curse and swear. I just work it out. I work it out. I make it happen. Because I already know I got a few. Anytime you create these molds, you always, you know, you run into these situations. is you come across these little voids and whatnot, and it's like you I guess I would say you just deal with it, you know, to get you to your final point. Now remember, technically this is only the second layer. It's only the second layer. Now, I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to constantly just rip pieces of 6-ounce and, you know, dab it in with the resin and stuff as much as I would like to. I would like to. I love showing this stuff hands-on. Sometimes a part like this I'll go on for, well, I'll go on for as long as my resin allows me to go on. I got about a 1% mix here, which is going to allow me a little bit more time to work with it. And I think a lot of my viewers, believe it or not, they love watching this crap. See, now I saturated that. It's not going to bend around the corner, obviously, not this corner. It'll go over this corner, but it's not going to go around that corner. I already know that. I like to see all the busted hairs there. I love to put that there like that. And I love to saturate it back here. And then I love to bend those, or hopefully I love to try to bend those kind of around the corner. Like I say, there's a binder. There is a binder in this stuff. Now I could take a piece like this and I could come back. I could wet this out down here, wet the face out, get those going around. I could take this and I could stick it there like that, which is obviously what I will do. You know, getting into some of these little places, and then I bend these ones over this way. And that's basically, you know, and you just keep working it, you know. All these little fibers you see fall off, I always go back and I kind of, you know, I dab them. I'm always looking back, kind of at where I've been. You know, just trying to get the glass to do its thing. Now when I rip that, what you're not seeing on the camera is you're not seeing the thousands of fibers floating all around. Camera girl, me, we're breathing that shit in. Normally, I got this little tube here, has a fan on the other end of it. Normally I got that going. I don't have it going, so you can actually, you know, hear me babble on. Normally I get sometimes I even got the big fan going because it just sucks everything out. But you know, when we do our videos, we kind of shut everything down so you can, you know, you can hear what I'm babbling on about. I'm just gonna keep. Sometimes you can take this 6-ounce chop and you can kind of do this. You can kind of give it just a little. Give it a little tear. So I'm going to go right over this. That's a vent. I'm going to go right over that. I'm going to saturate this out. And like I say, because we've already got the 1/2 ounce on there, you're going to see how it wants to, yeah, something you got to deal with. But I just saturate it really good, and eventually it'll push down around that vent. And even if it doesn't, if it leaves a little bit of an air bubble on one edge, that's what our 1/2 ounce layers are there for. Our 1/2 ounce layers are there to kind of accommodate, in a sense. You know, like I say, I'm not an expert. I'm always learning. I'm learning just like I'm still learning. That's all I can say. I'm still learning this stuff. You know, sometimes it's a bit of a fight. Sometimes I get it right. You know, I'll stress ventilation. You want ventilation. This stuff is obviously, it's not good for you. You know, you got these volatile chemicals. You got the styrenes. I can smell it. I can smell it. Normally when I got my little fan going, I don't smell it as much. You can become a little bit what they call nose blind to it. Like I say, don't like wasting product. Try to just keep working and working and working just to... I can already tell, even though I did a light mix on this, I can already tell that it's kind of going a little bit south. I'm just going to keep using it until it goes, you know, obviously full south. But you want to see composite work at its best, this is kind of how it's done. Can you lay it in any better? Maybe you can. You could use a chop gun. You know, you could use a chop gun. You could spray it. You could roll it. Unfortunately, you know, I'm low budget. You know, I do this more or less for a hobby. I have a few people who want these GT40s. I do it because I like doing it. I love being able to create something. I call this, believe it or not, this GT40, I call this the unicorn. To me, this is the unicorn. Now you're sitting there and you're going, well, what do you mean it's the unicorn? Well, because in the quarter scale world, everybody got Cobras, everybody got Daytonas. Now, if you know anything about Cobras, Daytonas, GT40s, Carroll Shelby, God bless his soul, worked for Ford. Mustangs don't count. I'm sorry I said that. Mustangs don't count. But the Cobra and the Daytona and the GT40, most popular 3 race cars of Carroll Shelby's history. So, that's why I call this the unicorn, because there are many people that have built, fabricated the Cobras, you know, made molds, sold many. There's lots of guys that have made the molds and sold many Daytonas. Nobody has done the GT40. Therefore, this is kind of the first. This is the unicorn. All the collectors want the unicorn for the trio of the Shelby collection. So, I'm going to carry on. I'm not going to bore you with any more of my getting high laying fiberglass. Sharp Customs, share, like, subscribe. I hope you enjoy this. This shit is wicked strong, this polyester resin. Next few weeks, I plan on having, I don't know, hopefully 2, 3, 4 of these bodies made to ship them out. Who knows where? hit that notification bell, give me your comments. I'm not a professional fiberglasser. Just want you to all know that. I'm just sharing what I'm learning along the way. My gel coat this year, I don't know if it's product, I don't know if it's the way I'm spraying, it's turning out freaking awesome. Till the next video. Love you all. Peace. I'm out.